If I wanted to get that information out to the general public, what that study actually said, a study that was conducted by the United States government, I could potentially go to jail. Does that make any sense? It's the biggest fraud that's ever been perpetrated on the United States. That's a proven fact. That actually happened. And that makes me sick, and it also makes me angry. You ask me why I'm doing this? That's why I'm doing this. Right now, the most successful people in the world are prepared for anything that comes their way. I taught myself to ask more questions and how to get more out of life. If you want more, it really can happen, and it's simple strategies and techniques. These aren't pie-in-the-sky things. I'm not one of these guys telling you about how to be successful and never done it. I do it every single day.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, welcome. Better angle. You know, it's a work in progress, Chris, like everything we do. Welcome, Steve Paris, the infamous Steve Paris. All right, welcome, Periscope. Welcome. All right. Let's see. What are we doing? You know what? I don't even know what I'm doing today. All right, well, my name is Michael Alden, and this is the Alden Report. We are here in Blue Vase Studios. You know, I'm not really a political guy, so to speak. I was a political science major. Oh, yeah, we're going to be talking about Trump. That's what we're going to be talking about. I was a political science major. I'm an attorney by trade. And, you know, I'm watching the debates here in the United States like everyone else, and I'm watching what's going on with Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders and Rubio and Kasich and Cruz and all these other guys. And, you know, what I found really interesting, I think a lot of people found interesting in the political arena, was Mitt Romney's attack on Donald Trump. Now, you know, I'm not endorsing Donald Trump. I was just talking to my father about my view on politics and what's going on in the world. But I'm not endorsing Donald Trump by any stretch of the imagination, or I'm not endorsing Hillary or any of these things. But what I found, which was very, very interesting to me, again, was Mitt Romney's attack on Donald Trump. And one of the things that he did was Mitt Romney, for those of you who didn't see it, Mitt Romney made about a 10 or 15-minute speech specifically attacking Donald Trump and listed all the reasons why Donald Trump should not be the nominee in the Republican Party. And there are, you know, some of his comments and some of the things he said, you know, made sense. You know, you know, Donald Trump's demeanor, it doesn't really seem very presidential to a lot of people. And, you know, I get that. But the thing that Mitt Romney and a lot of people in the mainstream media are spending a lot of time on is Donald Trump's failures. Donald Trump's failures. And Mitt Romney listed all the different things that Donald Trump has failed at. They said, well, where is Trump vodka? Where is Trump water? Where is Trump steaks? You know, where is, you know, Trump University, which isn't a university, by the way. They attacked that. And they listed all these different things. And the media talks about how he declared bankruptcy and how, you know, he, you know, started a magazine and it didn't work, and how he opened a hotel and that, quote, failed. And, you know, when you look at successful people, it's hard to argue with Donald Trump's success, especially where he's sitting here today. I mean, you don't become essentially the presumptive Republican nominee without being successful, you know, getting to where he is today. But it's not even about that. I mean, his business success, again, is something that is, you know, remarkable. I mean, he's obviously had some huge successes in the real estate world, and he's an author, and he's a speaker, and he's doing all these. So you can't argue with his success. But Mitt Romney tried to do that. Mitt Romney tried to say that he was, you know, a failure, and all these different things that he did failed, and that he was a fraud, and all these other things Mitt Romney, you know, was attacking Donald Trump for. And when I talk to people about business, And I just got out of a meeting with my executive team. We talked a little bit about this as well, and I've been thinking about it for a while. And I've talked about it with many people in my private life and my business life. Is that I would say anywhere between 80 and 90% of everything that we do as a company and the things that I do don't work. Now, I don't like to use the word failure in anything, but between, 80 and 90% of the things that I do and I've done in my life, especially in my business life, don't work. And so when Mitt Romney is out there attacking Donald Trump for his failures, and he listed all the failures, and people talk about his bankruptcies, and they talk about Trump Airlines, and all these different things that, quote, failed, if you're a true student of business like I am, and not only a student, but someone who's living it and truly conducting business every single day, what you really find is that most of the stuff we do doesn't work. And that's very, very difficult for a majority of human beings to be able to understand and accept, is that most of the things we do in business don't work. Someone said to me when I launched Emery Vodka, I'm not drinking Emery Vodka right now, but I am drinking out of a Emery Vodka glass, right? She said to me, she says, Mike, everything you touch turns to gold. And that's the complete opposite. The things we do here at Blue Vase, and we do it all the time. We just talked about this. My main business is in direct response. Legalized crystal meth. I don't know. Steve Paris, if you're still on, what do you think about legalizing meth? By the way, so for those of you that are listening and those of you that are watching, we are live on Periscope. You can find me Mike Alden 2012. You can find me Mike Alden 2012 on Twitter, Periscope, Instagram. My Facebook is Facebook / The Alden Report. So again, we look at all these different things that that don't work. And we get frustrated. We get really, really, really frustrated with some of the things that don't work. Now, in my world, again, in my core business, the main things that we do in the direct response world are traditionally infomercials. So I'm not sure where everyone is from all over the world, but I'm sure you have them pretty much all over the world. Well, we run advertisements on television, and we ask for consumers to call us to buy a certain particular product. Rhode Island is in the house. And so we ask customers to call in and potentially buy one of our products. Now, here's the thing about the direct response world, more specifically the infomercial world. For those of you that don't know, but again, this is think of this in the bigger scale of business. About 1 in 50 or 60 of the advertisements that we create works. And that's a true number. Right now we're very, very lucky. We have several advertisements that are on television, that are on the internet, that are on radio, that are working, but no one talks about, I talk about it, but no one knows or sees behind the scenes of all the, quote, failures. Can I advertise? So again, we are live on Periscope. Can I advertise your landscaping business? That's definitely something we can do for you. You can email me. Again, my email is mike@michael-alden.com. So you want to drop me an email, we can talk a little bit about how we can help you grow your business. And that's one of the things that we do here at Blue Vase. But it's interesting that you brought this up because, again, most people don't see, and if you're a business owner, like the gentleman who just asked me a question in landscaping, you find that a lot of things either don't work or a lot of things, quote, fail. Again, I don't like to use the term fail. I like to call them temporary defeats. But if you look again what's going on right now, we look at Donald Trump, everyone wants to attack the things that he was not successful at, like the casinos in Jersey, I think the Taj Mahal, I think, was the one that ultimately declared bankruptcy. And he's declared bankruptcy a couple times. And then people say, well, his father gave him $1 million, and therefore, his success is not real. Well, he took that $1 million, and depending on who you talk to, he's worth anywhere between $4 and $10 billion. It's a pretty big spread. It's a $6 billion spread, but it doesn't really matter. We're still talking about billions. But again, when you look at all the different things that that he has been involved in, including Trump University that everyone's all upset about, they didn't work. They don't work. And while I sit here today in my business at Blue Vase Marketing, again, if you want to learn more about me or my company, you can go to bluevasemarketing.com, or you can go to michael-alden.com, learn a little bit about me and learn a little bit about what we do here. But I tell this to prospective clients, and I could probably get a lot more clients in our business. But I tell them right out of the gate that most of the stuff that we do, and it's not just us, it's most of the stuff that's done in the world today doesn't work. It just doesn't. Yeah, and that's why you're right. 8 out of 10 businesses fail. Someone just posted that on Periscope. You're right. And most of the businesses fail within the first 5 years. And there's a whole host of reasons why, but it doesn't necessarily mean you give up, and it doesn't mean that you're not a success. You just weren't successful at that particular venture. We launched a daily fantasy sports website called draftdemons.com. Still up, it's still available. You can go to draftdemons.com if you're interested. But it didn't work for us. Draft Demons didn't work for us. And we ended up, let's see. Yeah, Rubio took money that was given to him. He put it into a fund, and he made money as well. Again, we're live on Periscope, so I'm trying to answer and respond to people as well. But the website draftdemons.com is a venture that we launched. We got into the daily fantasy sports world because we saw an opportunity, and it didn't work for us, at least. I mean, it's still out there. It's still working. We ultimately ended up selling it, and sold it for a significant loss. But it's working, for the guy that we sold it to. Okay, it didn't necessarily work for us. And then go back to the advertisements that we create every month or so. We create a bunch of them. 90% of them don't work. It doesn't mean that we're a failure. It doesn't make us bad people. It just means that those didn't work. And what I'm trying to get across to people is, again, this is what's going on right now in the political world. Okay, so someone said that Trump is a racist, greedy bigot. That may be the case. I don't know about Trump's personal beliefs, but that is what we're talking about right now. Okay, we're not talking about the hatred that people have for Donald Trump. We're talking about real business, and we're talking about what most people understand in the business world is not what is really going on in the business world. See, most people see the successes. No one sees the failures. Again, I don't like to use failures, but I'm going to use it because that's what most people understand. So whether or not Trump is a racist bigot, like someone just said, that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about here. Because I'm not getting into his personal life or his personal beliefs or his political beliefs. I'm not endorsing him or any of that stuff. But okay, well, someone just said they're embarrassed for what capitalism has become. Okay, and that may, you may be embarrassed for what capitalism has become. But the one thing that you don't see, and what most people don't see, is that most of the things that Donald Trump has done and most of the things that most successful business people do don't work. Okay, if you look at Apple, okay, and you look at what Steve Jobs is so highly touted for, and the things that people, call him a genius, and he is a genius. But if you've read his biography like I have, and you've studied business again like I have, I mean, take a look at Next. If you Google Steve Jobs and Next, it was one of the biggest, most epic failures, if you want, again, we're talking using the term failure, in the technology world to date. It was a complete disaster. Complete disaster. But then you look at things like the iPad, the iTouch, or this other thing that has revolutionized the music industry. This little known thing called iTunes, okay? Those are the things that we see. Those are the things that the average everyday person sees. Those are the things that the average everyday person understands, okay? So when you're looking at Donald Trump and when you're attacking Donald Trump and saying that he wasn't successful and that, he's a fraud and all these other things. That's not the case. Okay? Many things he has done didn't work. And the reason why, and kind of here's the secret, the reason why he is successful is because he has an ability to work through it, to persevere. We were talking a little bit earlier with my producer, and to be persistent, okay? And understand that temporary defeat, again, I don't like to call them failures, that temporary defeat of that business that's not working is most likely going to open another door. And I talk a little bit about this in my book, Ask More, Get More, talk a little bit about this in one of my advanced trainings, is that every negative does have a positive. We talk about the silver lining and how doors open up. Even though something that you didn't work, other doors open up. And if you look at the trajectory of myself and Blue Vase and some of the temporary defeats that I've had, if it wasn't for some of those temporary defeats, I wouldn't be here today. And it's very, very difficult to understand that when you're going through it, when you're living it at that very moment, when things aren't working, when you're losing money, or when you lost money, or when a business venture doesn't work. But again, when you look at Donald Trump and you look at Trump University and you look at Trump Airlines and you look at Trump Steaks and you look at Trump Vodka. Trump Vodka, by the way, I thought was kind of interesting because Donald Trump doesn't drink. So, I mean, I did think that was kind of a silly business idea. But Trump saw the value in his brand and he decided to put his name pretty much on everything. But what we're talking about is that most people only see the successes. And I want you to understand that if you are out there today trying to make it, if you're scratching, if you're clawing, if you're trying to become successful in whatever it is, you have to understand that there are going to be speed bumps along the way. There are going to be setbacks along the way. There are going to be big, what I like to call temporary defeats and other people call failures along the way. That's just business. That's the way it works. But it's that one thing that actually works that's going to allow you to do more things. So when I look at some of the advertisements that we've created, we have one on television right now called Arthro-D. It's a joint health supplement. It's been on TV for years. We have another one called Androzene. It's been on TV for years. We have another one called Live Disease Free. It's been on TV for years. Another one called Enhanced Male that's been on, we recently just launched that. We have my book, Ask More, Get More. We have my second book coming out, 5% More. We have all these things, but there have been many, many missteps, if you want to call them, and many things that just didn't work. We have one thing called it was called Magically Me. It's customized children's music. If you go to magicallyme.com, it's still available. It still works. I love it. I think it's great. It's customized children's music. Whatever name you have, if we don't have your name in our database, we can record it within 48 hours. And it's a great gift. There's these cute little teddy bears. I love the whole thing. We had another thing called the doodle roll. I talk a little bit about it. It's basically just basically just a piece of paper that you doodled on. It was a little bit more than that, but I absolutely loved it. We spent close to $100,000 developing these programs, and they didn't work. We tested them, and it was a complete disaster. But we put our best foot forward. We spent a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of research, a lot of resources as well, and they didn't work. But that's okay. And even for me, I was talking about this today with my executives in one of our meetings. Even for me, it's tough to swallow sometimes, and it's tough to understand. Tough to mentally, kind of battle through the fact that these things you keep doing over and over and over again aren't working. They talk about the definition of insanity, right? But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about business. And most of the things that people do in business don't work. But it's the big ones that everybody remembers. I talked about this before. Someone said to me once that his last overnight success took him 10 years. So it takes time to get these things done as well. So when we're looking at Donald Trump, we are in this crazy political world we're in right now, in this crazy political arena. And we looked at what Mitt Romney did, and he attacked Donald Trump, and he attacked him for all of his beliefs, but he also attacked him for his, quote, failures. It really struck a chord with me because I don't believe that any of the things that he has done, or any business person for that matter, is truly a failure. It's really a learning experience. It's really the progression of becoming a better entrepreneur, a better business person. That's what it's really all about. And that at some point, you will be successful in whatever it is you're doing. We talk a lot about how that can happen, and some of the techniques that that are necessary in order to be a successful entrepreneur. And there's a lot of them. It's not just about battling through and it isn't about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That is insanity. Okay, business is a lot more complicated than that. But I want people to understand that if you are in business and if you decide that you are going to get into business, if you're an entrepreneur, or whether you're in the workforce and you want to climb the corporate ladder, whatever it is, you are going to experience temporary defeats. You are going to experience speed bumps along the way and setbacks along the way. It doesn't mean that you aren't going to be a success. And it certainly doesn't mean that you're a failure. So this is a brief one. I really just want to kind of get this off my chest. My name is Michael Alden. This is the Alden Report. If you'd like some more information about me, you can visit my website. It's michael-alden.com. You can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Alden Report. You can also find me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, all these things at Mike Alden 2012. So I hope that people understood this. I think it's timely. I think it makes sense. And I hope that you have a terrific day.